Welcome back to Marnie and Sue's Peep Show, where we give you a behind-the-scenes look at online business today. This is Marnie, and I have Sue Painter with me, and we're going to be talking about just an assortment of things. But first off, about your your programs. What do you do when you've got a program or a training scheduled or an event, and people aren't signing up? And how long do you keep promoting that thing and have nobody signing up, or what happens, heaven forbid, you only got like one person signed up, and then so Sue, do you want to chime in on that at all, or do you want me to run with it?
Well, why don't you run with it, and then I'll add my 2 cents in.
Okay, great. All right, this came to my mind because this is something had happened to me in the last week or so. I was offering my how to get a product done in a week or less, my how to get a program done in a week or less, and it was the second edition, the second time I'd offered it, and it was like nobody signing up. Now, granted, I didn't do a lot of marketing because I went immediately out of town after putting the page up. I gave myself a whopping 2 weeks to fill this program, and just didn't do as much promotion as I normally would. But I would have thought I would have got a few people. I got down to within 24 hours of when the program was to start. And in the past, I would have kind of written it off maybe and thought, well, nobody's going to sign up for this. I'm going to stop promoting it. I'll disable the sign up. But I didn't. I just went ahead and promoted it all the way up to the very end, and I ended up with 5 people in the class. So
Yay.
kind of taught me something about, number one, that people do procrastinate and wait till the last second to sign up. I even had somebody trying to sign up after it started, but I suggested she didn't because it's kind of a fast-paced training, and I wanted her to get the really take advantage of it, not just to listen to videos. So, but it taught me that people do wait till the last minute a lot of times. So don't get discouraged if they're not signing up. Just keep promoting, keep pushing it all the way to the end. And it helped me realize that, you got to be tenacious with it and not give up. And I also was starting to pay attention to what goes on in my head, since I do a lot of belief shifting work with people. There were some thoughts that were running through my head. It was like, oh man, what if I only get one person in this class? Or, I'm going to look horrible. I'm going to look stupid if I got one person. Or, sometimes it's worse in my mind if I think I'm only going to have one person than have no people. Because if there's no people, okay, well, nobody knows that there's no people or whatever. But if you just get like one, sometimes you feel silly. So what I have learned to do with programs, and I've been doing it for years, is, especially when they're new, because it takes a little time for people to realize, oh, this is what you're doing and I want to be part of that, is I salt my programs a little bit. I'll find a colleague or a friend who could use the program, and I'll say, hey, do you want to hop in? You want to be in this group I'm doing? And then it kind of alleviates that humiliation point of one person. And it's funny thing that happens is I'll invite somebody and then it'll start filling up. So I don't know whether it just shifts the energy around it or what, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. There's a lot to say about this topic, and I'm so glad that you brought it up, because actually in just this past week I had one client who was doing a webinar who did not have very many sign-ups, and then I had a colleague who was doing a live event and was concerned that her enrollments for the live event were going more slowly than she'd wanted them to go. And so, there's a lot of things to say about that. Marnie is absolutely right. It is mindset, and it is that people are so inundated with all the choices that they have now in the online marketing world that they are procrastinating to the very, very, very last minute. And I've had it happen to me where I've sent out one more email or one more reminder about something that in my mind I'm thinking, surely to God, everybody knows about this by now, and I will inevitably get a sign up from somebody who says, I just saw this right now. How come you hadn't been letting people know about it ahead of time? It just never fails, and especially when social media is squeezing you down and you're not getting much organic reach, so unless you're buying advertising. So there's a couple of things The first thing is, watch your mindset and just assume that if you keep promoting, at least a portion of the right people will find it. The second thing is keep promoting up until the very last minute. And in fact, Marnie, even today, even though I had sent out something to our list and a reminder to our list, you and I both got on Google Plus and we got on Facebook even today, this morning, and said, today is the Peep Show. And we got 3 more people sign up for it today, just in the last couple of hours. So it works for us. It works for everybody. More than that, though, you can also think about, in the case of this webinar, the lady was buying Facebook advertising to fill up the webinar. And I took a look at it because she wasn't getting any sign-ups. And what we discovered was that she did not have in her Facebook advertising a niched enough and more compelling enough call to action. The graphic was not particularly strong. It was for people who were in the health and beauty industry. And I said, no, you've got to segment it more than that. So we ended up changing the advertising, and she did something with just a yoga teacher, and then she did something with a trainer, and then she did something with a massage therapist, real specific graphics with the ads, and immediately she went from 2 sign-ups to, I think it was 34 sign-ups before the end. And so sometimes it is tweaking your advertising and your graphic. Sometimes it is not promoting enough. Sometimes, especially for live events, I think you have to get on the phone and call people and engage them and, invite them to the event and find out, if it will work for them to come, and if not, why not? And, see if you're getting pushback about your price point or whatever. So all of those things are things that you can do. But mostly what I see is people don't promote enough. They'll say, I'm going to set up a webinar, or I'm going to do a live event, and they put it out there one time, and they expect that people are going to sign up. You cannot. You have to promote it, I like to say, at least 7 different times, and if possible, in 7 different ways, like to your list, to social media platform, maybe through a paid ad, maybe through phone calls, maybe through a snail mail postcard. Try 7 different ways. So that rule of 7 will really help out. So those are the things that I think about. And, Marnie, I find it too. I've done webinars before when I haven't had very many sign-ups, and I've just thought, oh, I don't want to bother with this, but if I push it one more time, I'll get 10 or 12 more people. So you just never know. It is really that last-minute thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of the 80-20 rule coming in there, I guess.
80-20 rule, that's exactly right. And I think now some people see it and they think, well, I didn't think I was going to have time today, or they didn't want to sign up because they didn't know how their week was going to go. But if you send them a last-minute reminder, then they're like, oh, I've got the next hour free. I'll go ahead and hop on. So, and it's important to do, because often from that webinar you're making an offer for some other product or services that you're offering. So it's important to get those people into the webinar. But I'm proud of Marnie for continuing on. And there's nothing wrong with salting a few people, and that works in 2 ways. Number 1, it gives you numbers. Number 2, it helps you with word of mouth. And in fact, I have someone right now who is offering a new service, and she called and said, I'd like to just offer this to you a couple of times in return for, if it's beneficial to you, will you let people know about it at the end? So, that works too. Right.
Yeah, and get testimonials for it.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten some really good testimonials.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of when I was a kid and there was driving training, and the local Ford place always gave the driver's ed department in my high school a brand new car every year, and then they had the name of their Ford dealership plastered all over it. Everybody knew that it was that Ford Motor Company, that local dealership, who was giving the cars to the driver's training. And every kid who got a car, their daddy took them right down to the Ford. He got more sales off of that, I swear. I thought that was really smart of that guy to do. It was just that constant visibility and that word of mouth. Well, this guy gave a car to the school, so, I'm going to go over here and buy a truck for him for my kid.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of goodwill out of that.
A lot of goodwill, that's true. So he salted it in a way too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. So you had another subject you wanted to talk about, didn't you?
I did. I'm trying to think now what it was. What was it? I'm trying to think what's been going on in the last little bit. You know, one thing I'm thinking about a lot, this is a really serious time of year for business owners. And the reason I say that is two different reasons. Number one, it is the beginning of, we are now into the fourth quarter. So 75% of your year is gone, 25% remains. And in that 25%, you can actually do 50 or 75% of your business, because fall is a time of year when people kind of get back into the routine of things and they really want to get something done before the holidays hit. So if you're thinking about launching a product or a service, right now is the time. You don't want to get it too close to Thanksgiving and then the rest of the holidays, but now is a really fertile time. And more than that, it's a great time to look at your business in terms of what are you going to do between now and the end of the year, and set yourself some goals. Don't just say, well, you know, yeah, I'm going to market, I'm going to launch this product. Put a goal to it, like I'm going to sell 15 of these, or I'm going to write a book and I'm going to push it till I'm an Amazon bestseller, or whatever the deal is. So that's one thing. But then the other thing is, for me right now, I've been in business long enough that almost for me, the year is over. I mean, I already know what I am going to be doing between now and the day before Christmas, because I probably won't work that week before Christmas and New Year's. Bill and I are going to go off on a cruise this Christmas, so we're going to be gone. So, you know, now I'm looking heavy at what do I want to be doing in the first 6 to 9 months of 2015. And if you don't plan it, then what happens is your business just becomes like a daisical. And whatever comes up is whatever you'll do, but that's not focused. It doesn't drive to a certain level of income, nor does it drive toward the activities that you really say you want to accomplish for yourself. So now is the time to be planning for 2015. You know, Marnie and I talk a lot about reinvention, and this is the time of year to be thinking about, are there things in my business that I don't want to do anymore? Are there things in my business that I'd kind of like to add, but I haven't really sat down and fleshed out a plan of how to do it? Like, what kind of reinvention do you need to do, or do I need to do for my business over switching it into the fourth quarter of this year and then on into next year? And I don't think that's the topic that I said that I would talk about, Marnie, but it's been on my mind because I spent the morning actually with somebody who thought she was going to launch big in 2015, and now, because of some other family circumstances, we're going to kind of put the simmer on that launch, and she's not going to be able to launch really big till the end of 2015. And I'm sitting here thinking, everybody should be thinking about 2015. I should be having this conversation with more than just this one client. I don't know what you have to say. How do you plan for your year? I mean, do you always feel like fourth quarter is the time to really hit it, or some people start laying back, and then they've already laid back all summer, so that doesn't work to me.
Right. No, I do think fall is one of the best times
to
sell things online. I used to see that a lot when I was in the advertising end of it, like with ideal marketers. The ad revenues would just go way up because that's when everybody's promoting and advertising online, and some of it's prep for Christmas stuff, but that's when my best ad revenues would come in the fall. So that was a good indicator that people are making money online in the fall quarter, or that last quarter of the year. And I'm working on the same thing, working on mapping out my calendar for next year. And I've been bad about not really doing that because I used to not do as much. My business was ad revenue. You know what I mean? It was mainly, I wasn't planning events and things like that. I might plan for one big event that I was going to do, or two. But I'm looking at scheduling out my trainings all the way out so that I know what I'm going to be doing. And I've started to use marketing calendars over the last while, and mapping out even what you do day to day to promote those things that are coming up, so that you have a clear checklist of, okay, I need to create a blog on this, I need to create an image quote, or whatever, you know, and really get more methodical and systematic about it rather than just winging a prayer kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I am really spontaneous, though, especially with marketing, because I'll come up with an idea and I just make it or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I went back and looked when we were chatting on Facebook to see what we said we were going to talk about, and there were a couple of things, and now I'm not sure that I remember the gist of the conversation, but remember we were saying about we should talk about regret. Now I'm trying to think why we were talking about regret. Maybe regretting that we didn't try something we knew we were supposed to do. I don't remember what we were talking about. But the other thing that we were talking about was I had this time this week when I really just didn't want to do anything. And I chatted to Marnie and I said, you need to give me a lecture because I just want to do nothing but sit on my honey today. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about anything. I feel bad. I hurt all over. I'm done. I'm ready to fold my tent and go home and walk off into the desert. And she was like, you need rest. And so this whole thing about when you have a day when you are not motivated to do your business. And I love my work. I love working with my clients. I love chatting with Marnie. I love writing my books. I love everything that I do in my business. I've worked really hard to get to that point in my business. But I just had Monday and Tuesday this week, I'm just telling you, I didn't want to do anything. I don't know if I was tired because we came back from Florida. I don't know if I felt sick a little bit because I had gotten a shot. I don't know what the deal was, but I didn't want to perform. And that is very unlike me. But I think what you have to do is you just have to ride with it. You have to, like, give yourself some space of a day or two. And then sure enough, this morning, I was, like, turned back on again. So I don't know. Tell me what you think about that, because I know people go through this all the time. And sometimes we really need to say, you know, focus and get going. And sometimes we need to say, I'm laying back today.
Yeah, I actually teach this a lot to my clients because there's a cycle that we go through. It correlates to the seasons of the year. If you think of spring, you know, all the stuff's popping. That's sort of the idea phase that we go through, where we have lots of ideas about what we could do with businesses or whatnot. And then you'll take from that, hopefully you'll go into production on one of those ideas, and that's sort of like summer where everything's growing, and then you go into fall where you organize. A lot of times when we're in a really production phase, everything goes to pot around us. If we're parents, our kids have been eating ramen noodles for 2 weeks or whatever, and our house is a wreck, and then we wake up and go, oh, wait, I need to organize my house or my life or my desk or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's gone to chaos in the production mode. And that's sort of like your fall, where you're putting up, you know, bottling your produce or dehydrating it or whatever. And then you go into winter, which is a rest phase. So, and then once in that phase, nothing's growing. You lose your momentum. You may feel some apathy. You may feel even depressed because the ideas that you're used to are not coming. Yeah. And then if you go ahead and relax into that, you'll go back into a flow state and you'll have the ideas come. So I see people go through that on a day-to-day basis. That, you know, if you pay attention, some people are morning people, some people are evening people or whatever. But we kind of go through that cycle in a day. We'll go through it in weeks and months and years, you know. I just see that cycle happen all the time. So if I find myself feeling like apathetic and I don't really care and whatever, I know I'm in the rest phase. And the sooner I just go ahead and rest and don't try to fight it or try to force work or ideas when I'm there, then the faster I'll get out of that, move past it, and be back into a flow state again.
Yeah, I do think there is something. I mean, when you are an entrepreneur and own your own business, you work alone much of the time. And you have to be a self-starter or you're not going to be successful. You have to get up and you have to say, this is what I want to get accomplished. This is the vision I have. It's up to you to figure out how to make that vision become real. But I think sometimes we don't realize how hard we work because we kind of sort of never turn it off. And I don't know whatever happened, if it was just the weather. You know, we came up from Florida and it was sunny and nice in Florida and it got all gloomy when we got up here, and I was just like, I don't know what the deal was. But I just heard someplace in Nashville, they just opened one of those, it's one of those things where you go sit in a tank of salt water and it's really dark and they close you all in the little box and you...
Sensory deprivation, is that what it is?
Like, it deprives you of all stimuli. You just float in the salt water and it's really dark and I guess like a cocoon. And I thought, you know, I'm going to go buy myself a session. I just want to lay in the dark in the salt water.
Did you do it?
stimulus at all. But I didn't do it. I have to figure out where in Nashville that is. But I saw on TV they just opened that. And you do need some of that sensory deprivation every now and then, because we live in a world where it's just coming at you like all the time, all the time, all the time. So, at any rate, I do feel better today. And I could tell when I woke up this morning, I woke up really early like I normally do, and I had a whole bunch of ideas and things I wanted to get done. But the last 2 days, I wasn't worth shooting. So I don't know what was wrong with me.
That was it. You were in the rest phase.
Yes, I was. I was just in the rest phase. And I cannot think about, what were we talking about regret? I don't know. I can't catch the conversation. Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember.
What were we? I don't know. It must have been something about we were talking about filling up like your course and filling up offers that we make, and then maybe it was that if you don't push it hard enough and it doesn't turn into something that is beneficial for your clients and makes money for you, then you have a regret that you've put all this time and money into it and it hasn't worked out.
Oh.
Maybe that's what I just wrote down regret and I can't think of it. If we think of it, we'll talk about it the next time, I guess.
One thing though, there are very few things I regret, because I figure I learned something from them. So even if you try something that doesn't work, what did you learn from it? What's the takeaway? At least it's not wasted,
Oh, I agree. I always like to tell my clients, I want you to have one really good failure every quarter, because that means that you're pushing yourself hard enough. If you keep it safe and you worry about, if you want to guarantee yourself that you're always going to have a success, then you're not pushing the envelope enough and you never will grow, because you'll stay, right there in your comfort zone. It's kind of like jumping off the high dive. I mean, you can go up to the edge and you can look down and you can look down 1,000 times, but that water is not going to come any closer. Eventually, you're just going to have to take the leap and jump. And if you don't, then you do regret it. You regret that you never took advantage of that opportunity that you had. So there's nothing wrong. I agree with you. I mean, there are things in my life that I may regret, but it doesn't have anything to do with business failure. Business failure business is an experiment. Some things will work and some things won't. And you can't take it personally. You just have to change the parameters around it and make it work. What does that Tim Gunn say on, do you watch that Project Runway, where all the young designers get a chance to come and design on TV? It's a TV reality show. And Tim Gunn is the host of it. He's always telling these young designers, well, make it work. And I like that in a way, because he challenges them to use the utmost of their skills and their creativity to actually make something come into being that they are conceptualizing in their mind. Whatever that fashion design is for that challenge. It's kind of interesting to watch the process that they go to. You can see them maturing. If you challenge yourself, you mature. If you don't challenge yourself, you remain childish and infantile.
There's something that the phrase "daring greatly" came into my mind as you were talking. That makes me think of that Theodore Roosevelt quote. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm and the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about it. I don't want to die knowing neither victory nor defeat. I want to have those times when what I did failed miserably and what I did, really was a high. I mean, I want those in my life. I strive to have those in my life, and I think that's really the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. That's good.
It's philosophical today, but we also have given people some really specific things about what to do if you're trying to fill your programs. And my hat is off to you, Marnie, for keeping at it. And you've got your people now, and I know they're benefiting greatly from that. So
we're having fun.
Yeah. So now your next tell people when the next availability, I guess, for your program will be, the next module that you'll start, where you will be taking new people.
Next week, I'm doing the section on how to create your sales pages and your preview webinars using my templated format, so you can get those done fast. So if you've already got a program developed and you just need some help with the sales process, that module, you could go straight to that module. Or I'm doing another really high-intensive one-week version that has the product creation, the sales module, and the marketing module all together in 1 week in November. Around November 10th, I'm going to do one of those, because I found there's two types of people. Some people want to just get it done, crank it out, devote a week, let's get it done, and the others have too much going on in their lives and they'd rather spread it out. So I'm going to kind of rotate those back and forth. So this month it's spread out into 3 modules, and then November I'm going to the 1 week intensive again.
Okay. And I want to mention that my latest Kindle book, which is how to help clients, how to get more clients and help more people, today only is 99 cents on Amazon.
Oh, cool.
So I'm just promoting it today. So if you want to grab that book, if you are a person who offers transformational services and you want to know why everyone loves you but no one will buy your services, this book will help you figure that out. So go to Amazon Kindle, look up Sue Painter, and I have several books, but this book is How to Get More Clients and Help More People. Today it's 99 cents.
That's a great book. I quote from that thing all the time. I have found myself quoting it from it to different people in classes I've been in. So.
Oh, cool. I'm honored. Thank you for that. Okay, well, I guess, are we done for the day? And I will have to let people know when next week. Forgot to look at our calendar ahead of time. But we'll do it next week again, and we'll have to figure out what day will work. And we'll send it out in the replay link so that you'll know.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.